Hi everyone, today I decided to redo the retarder around the leaf as I might have done it very fast. So for the people who's never used retarder, it might be a little bit confusing. So as I move along, I will move my canvas so that you can see. So today I'm using Deco Art Extender Blending Medium as my retarder, and I'm using Empire Gold, which was one of the colors that we used in the leaf. I will be using for the big area here, I will be using a number, I think it's like a 1-inch flat brush. I will be using a number, I can't see my numbers, I use them so much. It's a 3/8 angle brush. I love working with angle brushes. And actually, there's also a little mini angle brush that I will be using. That is a 1/4 when we do this little area and the close areas. And then I'll show you the mop brushes. So this is my mop brush that I've had for years. It's a 3/4 inch mop brush. It goes very well when we do the big areas here to extend the color. And then I will also probably be using the number 6 mini mop brush. The mini mop brush looks a lot like a makeup brush that you buy. I think I bought these at dollar store. It came in a little kit. It's the same thing. It's a mop brush also, the makeup brushes. Then I have another mini brush, a number 1. So I'll put the 3 together and you'll see. And then I have a mini mop brush that is a 1/8. So as you can see, the difference between the mop brushes, and these are available online on Amazon also. I really like to have a variety of sizes in my mop brushes, because sometimes when you get to the close area here, we're going to need probably the 1/4 inch, the number 1 mop brush for that. So let's get started. So I will put my retarder on. When you put the retarder on, your brush has to be dry. Water and retarder doesn't work together, because retarder makes your paint as oil paint. So just load a lot of retarder, and then we're gonna come here and I'm gonna put my retarder. It's okay if it's closer than what I want. I prefer having my retarder close, and that way I have I know where I want to put it. And I will show you the painting, the original painting. And I'm starting by the outside because for me it's going to be easier to show you, so that my hand is not in the retarder and that I don't have to dry it, because it takes a while to dry. See, I'm putting my retarder far. So that's the trick, is to put, and I want my retarder to come about here. And it's okay if I go over my leaf. Our leaf is dry. And I'm gonna extend that too. So a lot of retarder. Okay. Now I'm not gonna put my brush away because we'll need more retarder. I will have it sit. I will have it sit. How can I show you that? Sit in my retarder, so it won't dry up on me. It takes a while to dry up, but I still don't want it to get all mucked up. Then we'll wash it with soap and water. So, sorry. So this is what we're gonna be creating. As you see, on the edges here, it's darker and it's going to a little bit lighter. So that's what we're going to create. So now I'm going to take my Empire Gold. And actually, that big brush that we've just used, I'm going to use that to put my gold in. So I'm just going to take off a bit of the retarder since I had a lot. And I'm going to load, I want to make sure you see this. I'm going to load it here. And I'm going to put it in my brush just like that. So you see the back? So I want it to, it's like a float that we're doing. And I want it to go like half across. I'll take those mop brushes out. Half across here to the middle of on this side here. So I'm loading. It's okay if there's too much, because when we go into the retarder, it's we're not gonna come to the edge here. Okay, so now I'm gonna start kind of over here. It doesn't have to be exactly like the photo of the original painting, as long as I'm going into a curve like this. See, I can even go over what I've just done. I kind of want to go into the shape of the leaf, because it's the reflection in the water. That's what we're seeing here. And kind of go like that. And you see my retarder's dripping. It's okay. We can go and wipe that off after. So kind of like that here. Now I'm going to take my mop brush and I'm going to extend it. And extending, I might not have enough paint here. So I'm just tapping and going out. Tapping and going out. Tapping and going out. So it's not going to create a harsh line. And you can start, depending if you want a line here or not. So I'm taking it, going close to my paint, and I'm tapping as I extend. So Sam might not have enough paint here. We might have to reload. It's very hard to reload actually when and barely see, I'm barely touching. Actually, I think I'm just gonna barely touch, not tapping. I think tapping doesn't extend it as much. Okay, I'm gonna reload with the gold paint. I'm not putting more retarder on my brush, but I'm gonna go in more in my paint, load more paint. See, I'm loading a lot more because I find I didn't load enough. It's kind of tricky. Be careful, don't do what I just did, because my retarder leaked down on the floor because my retarder was sitting in the corner of the plate. So I'm gonna go back. Oh, look at that. This is much better. So this is what you want to see. And then here, like that. Okay, so now let's go soften that up. Here I'm gonna start by tapping very gently, barely tapping, because I want to soften that up. Yeah, it's tapping that you gotta do with them up. And I can kind of walk it, tap it and walk it. Walking it is just tapping, but not too hard, very gently. Because if you tap too hard, you won't have any paint left on your canvas. So barely tapping. Like I'm barely touching it. And I want to kind of keep that edge here on the, like that crisp edge. At some areas, I might not want it as dark. Like here it's dark here, and getting a little bit lighter as we go. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm just tapping and walking it out. Walking it out means I'm going the opposite way of the paint. And I'm going up, following that edge. So I'm not just going straight like that. I'm also going up. And then I'm going to start going over a bit the edge here. And if you find sometimes you accumulate paint on your mud brush, then just wipe it off on a rag. And then you just go in a circle like that. A mud brush can take abuse. So then again, I'm gonna go tap here. I'm gonna use my other arm so that you can see. I'm gonna soften that up because it's kind of thick. And I'm going up. Same thing here. And then I'm gonna show you what we do when, you know, you lost your line here. It's all jaggeded here. That is very easy to fix because we have retarder, right? There's retarder here. And it seems like it's leaking down because we have too much paint, too much retarder. We can also fix that. Retarder gives you such freedom to fix things. And here, like I don't want that yellow gold edge here. And I'm gonna keep going. And I'm gonna keep extending it very gently. And it's just that. And then you can barely touch it, just so that you don't have any lines, because we were just tapping. And I'm barely like feather light touching here. So now I'm going to take one of my little mud brushes, and look what I'm going to go do. I'm going to bring that up back. So I'm just going to clean the edges. Here, same thing. I'm going to bring that back up. And it's worse because I'm working on a canvas that is standing up. If you and then you wipe your little mud brush, okay? You don't leave retarder in it and paint, because we can use it again. So here I'm going to keep going very gently. And now I'm mopping. I'm actually mopping. But I'm barely touching. Like, it's very feather light. It's almost like practicing, because we're so used when we paint, like we paint hard. Like we have to put a lot of pressure on our brush. And this is like the opposite. You don't do that. Can you see now that the reflection, it's further away now? Okay. So I'm kind of liking this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go clean up again. I took a different size of mud brush. I'm going to take some of the retarder out here. And there's little pieces here of yellow paint. I'm just going to grab them as I go. Here we go. Another one here. Here. Then I'm just going to go smooth the edges here. So that would be our first highlight in the water. So now I can come and do this one here. So that one, I'm done with my big brush. So I'm going to put it in the water because all the rest that we're going to work with is smaller. So I'm going to put it in the water. Okay, so now I'm going to come and do this one. This one here, I do it a bit different. I used my quarter, sorry. I use my quarter angle brush. Maybe here you're going to see better. You can use a regular flat brush. Like I said, I kind of like working with angle brushes. So what I do, I have retarder here in the corner. I'm trying to see where my camera is, and I'm loading my brush. Instead of putting it on the canvas, I'm putting it on my brush because this is very little and it's the way that it's made. And I'm coming into my paint, and I will also, and I turn around and I go back into the puddle. And on the other, I'm flipping, and it's only the corner that I'm going into. Flipping again and going into towards the middle. And I'm picking up paint. That's what it's doing. It's filling up. And it's not filling up a lot. It's only filling up maybe halfway, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here, and I'm going to see if this works out. It did for me before, but you never know. Some days it seems... Okay, I'm working very hard for me to work a crooked like that, so I'm going to see if I can do it. It's in coming in. I'm following the shape of the leaf here. And I'm finishing to nothing. Okay, so I'm gonna come here. It kind of, from the painting, kind of goes like, and I'm trying to go jagged like the leaf. And why I'm going back twice, it's just to extend the paint so I don't have to reload again. And this kind of finishes like that. So now I'm going to put my brush into the retarder like I did with my big brush. And I'm going to take a mini mop. There's the tiny little one here that is like it's a 1/8. And I'm just going to come and tap here. Just extended it from the inside, this one. And it doesn't need a lot of retarder here because you're not extending it a lot like we did up here. It's just a little bit. And if you find that there's not enough, then with this one here, because of the way we put the... yeah, I'm going to try something else. I'm going to try putting more paint on my brush, reloading and putting a lot more paint, and see what that's going to do. Sometimes it's from trial and error. Okay, that's much better, I find, but I'm really loaded a lot here. So with the mud brush, we're gonna come, and I'm gonna need, because I've put so much, I'm gonna take my number 1 mud brush and gonna work it. First, I'm coming to the edge here just to soften that up a bit, and I'm tapping. Same thing as I did with the other one. I'm not yeah, I'm not sweeping right away. Then I'm gonna take on my rag, I'm gonna take some of the retarder and the paint off because I have lots here, and I want to kind of go into a circle, showing that it comes from the leaf, Okay, and maybe not, you know, maybe not as dark there. It's fun because with the brush, we get to do that. So see, it makes the reflection of this here in the water. Again, I'm gonna take some of the retarder and the paint out. And you know, it doesn't need very much right now. It's almost where, you know, I want it. I want to see that yellow edge here. Okay. And then here, if you find it's not enough, once it's dry, you can come and re-add. So maybe I'm just going to tone this down a little bit, just to go match a bit of this one here. So I'm going to tap it on the edge here. By tapping, I'm taking a little bit off. You know, I'm not extending it. We've already done the extending. So I'm flipping my brush where it's dry. I'm barely touching. And I'm coming to the point here. And here I'm extending a little bit. You don't want this here. You want it softer, so lighter, not the same yellow as the edge, as the line here. Okay? Inside is, that's why we're tapping and we're moving down. We're taking some of that paint, bringing it down. So we are creating almost a degraded color. So see how light that is? So it creates, like this is your shadow going into kind of a highlight. And here I can, okay, so that is, and then I'm wiping my brush for the next thing that I'm gonna do. So now we are at these little wavy things there here. So I'm going to move you a little bit. Sorry about that. I want to move you down to that side here. And I'm gonna move my camera so that you can actually see better down here. Okay, we're not matching. It's very hard when you're okay. Here we go. So now what I'm gonna do is I need my brush. So I'm gonna take a clean brush just for my retarder. I'm gonna load my retarder, and I'm gonna put my retarder. What we're trying to do is these three little lines here. And actually, I think those three little lines should actually be with the brush that we just have with the surplus of retarder. So let's try that. So it kind of goes, so what I'm going to do is kind of go like that. It's actually, it's a bit too much. So I'm just going to do that here. Take it away a bit. Take it all the way. And I'm going to extend that retarder. It's there, so, you know, it's leaked down here. So I'm just going to extend that. I'm going to wipe my mop. And now I'm going to go do. There's retarder here, so I didn't have to reload. There was so many that leaked down. So I'm just going to come and just kind of, with the tip here, just do that circle, that semicircle. Another one here. And I don't think I'm going to do much to this here. And another one. And you can do, you know, the size that you want. It's just a reflection. And I'm just going to adjust this a little bit with my mini mop. I keep moving my mops. And I can shrink that one down. See, because there's retarder that was already there. So if you don't have any retarder that leaked down, you can put retarder here, but you don't have to put as much as we did up here, because you're really not, we're not going anywhere with this. You know, we're not extending it like that. We're just making marks. And if you've done them too dark, then you would just go on top of them and just tapping. And then take some of the wiping off your mop and coming back. So that's that is that for that corner. So now we're also, there's like a semicircle here. So I'm gonna come, there's a lot of retarder here. So I'm gonna put some retarder here. I might not be able to do it all because of the way I did my my leaf, and I want this all wet here. And I actually didn't take much retarder. You can come and get it from here because there's so much. And I'm gonna put this on the edge here so that you can see it. Okay, there's retarder everywhere. Okay. Can I bring, I think everything is way down as much as possible. So now here, I've got lots of paint still left on my paintbrush, as you can see. And this one, we're gonna extend it. Okay, and it has another one here. So mine might be a little bit smaller than yours. So it's all about the movement of the water, the reflection. That is not the right mop brush. I'm gonna take my number 6 mop brush, and I'm gonna come and I'm gonna just tap it out. This one here is a tiny little bit more, and also soften up if you have too much paint. Okay, this might be a little bit awkward for me to show you that. Okay, I don't want to tap too much. Okay, and that's all this is kind of tapping it down. You might have more room at the bottom of your canvas, so you're gonna walk it down just like we did up here. Okay, but don't lose it. If you lose it, just go back in and reload your brush. Mine has so much in, so from this here that I can still do a lot with it. I just want to tone it down a little bit, and I'm walking it down as I do that because I don't want a line here. I want it to be degraded. So I want it to not show where it finishes. That's what creates that highlight in the water. The only one I didn't touch is this, because that's how it was. That's how the photo was, because I did this base on the photo. So now here I'm gonna come and put a little bit of retarder. I think now is time to probably move the, I'm gonna move this so that you can see, maybe not that much. Okay, you know what, guys, I think I'm gonna flip the canvas, and you can flip your canvas too, and let's see if that's not gonna work better for us so that I can show you. I'm gonna bring the, I don't like to move things so much, but it might be better. Okay, so we're gonna do this. So we flipped our canvas. So flip your canvas too, and put some retarder all the way. And it doesn't take much retarder. I must have put like maybe a quarter size of retarder on my palette. And I have plenty. Well, we'll see when we get here how much I have. I don't want to go too much higher. Okay, so that is there. So now I'm going to see if I need to reload. I don't think I need to reload. We'll see. Now I'll flip this one here so that I can follow properly. So there's a few highlights here. So that one is there. I'm just going to darken it a little bit so that, and I'm just doing the corner so that I can see it and you can see it. And this one here, so when I do this one here, I want my paint towards the leaf, okay? So I'm gonna do it like that, and I'm following the shape of my leaf. So that's what you guys are gonna do too, because your leaf might not be the same shape as mine. And I'm gonna keep it going up to here. Does it show? Okay, there's a little bit of reflection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it darker for you to see. Okay? So I'm going to start kind of over here. Okay, that way you guys are going to see it better. And coming here. And I'm following the shape of my leaf. And finishing like that. Now I'm going to take my mop brushes. I'm going to take my number 6 mini mop brush that we've been working, or it could be your makeup brush. And again, that's all we're gonna do is extend it. And I'm starting right here to extend it, because I'm softening it up at the same time. And here, it might not be as extended because it's kind of like the end of this highlight. So pressing it a little bit and extending. That's what I do all the way. Pressing and extending. See what happens with retarder, it's very shiny. So it's kind of hard to see. And here also is I'm blending it in to not be too finished, kind of like in a point here. Okay, so now I'm gonna do, and again, I don't think I have to brush to put more. There's also kind of another highlight up here. It's like the wave, it's like the water, there's movement in the water. So we're gonna come and do a movement in the water. And I might load a tiny little bit here, just so that you can see it, so that there's no reflection. That's a bit much, but I'm gonna show you how to correct that. Okay, so now again, we're gonna take, it's like a 1/2 inch maybe, or a 5/8 mop brush. So I'm gonna right away come and tap in this area where it was very dark, and I'm gonna bring it up so it doesn't make chunks, and bring it up. And it doesn't have to be brought up very much, because it's just like a little wave in the water. Okay, so now we're gonna do, I'm gonna come on this side. So I don't like that you don't really see, oh, maybe I didn't record it, but properly. As you can see here, I've put the wave here, and I just tapped it. Not too far, like I said. Okay, same thing here, not too far. And this one also, not too far. They're not big like the big one that we did at the bottom. So now we're gonna come and we're gonna put retarder here. I'm not gonna, well, yeah, okay, here is that we're slowly working our way here to this the stem. So I'm gonna put some here. Be careful not to go into the area that we've already done up here. So when you extend your retarder, see there's lots of retarder in my brush. And I don't need that much, because the other highlights are right at the stem here. Okay, I'm gonna make sure you guys can see. Yeah, okay, that goes well. Load as you need your yellow, your gold. You might not have to as much. And I think this one here, for the way I'll be comfortable to work, is I'm gonna start at the bottom here, and I'm gonna go in a V. And I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna follow my leaf and working to nothing. I barely press here. I'm gonna do the same on the top in a V, and then also creating a movement up to nothing. And there's a little wave here, so I'm turning my paint on the other side and just creating a little here. That one you probably won't even have to touch. And I'm just reloading it just a tad here. And this just needs to be softened up a little bit, because some paints, here I'm gonna just extend it a little bit. The trick is to go in a V when you get to your stem. And okay, so now I'm gonna take my number 6 mop brush, which is, and I'm gonna go outside this way to soften it up. And also here, you know, and I don't want, you know, that you don't want it to be too dark here, or, you know, you want it to make sure that it looks like it's a highlight in the water. And I'm tapping. Here I'm tapping a little bit stronger, only because I don't have as much retarder in it. When I do a big area, I like to have lots of retarder. I find I have more control that way. And I'm gonna soften this up. This is actually a little bit darker than the one that we did, the first one that we did. And this one here, I'm not even gonna touch. And I'm going to barely nothing. It all depends on how much paint you've put on your brush. If you've got lots of paint, you're gonna have to work it a little bit more and bring this up here so that, you know, you can also adjust it from this side too. And there's little chunks of paint there. And here also you can actually move your paint. If you don't like the shape it's in, you can push it. But if you push it, it's going to make a line, so you're going to have to soften that up after. Okay, so what I want to do is one last thing, and then we're going to flip. Here, I want to add like a little bit more paint. There's like a harsher, darker highlight there. Like right here. And it's kind of like that. Okay, so I'm just going to take my little mini mop brush and I'm going to tap it a little bit just to soften what I've just done. Okay, so now we're going to flip that around and I'm going to show you how it is, and I would suggest that you do this flat on a table, not on an easel, because that's when your retarder will run. And I'm going to attempt to show you. See, then I would dry it. So I'm going to attempt. I'm going to take my phone off of the easel here, the way I'm filming. And I'm going to back up a little bit. And I'm going to show you from afar if we can see the highlights that we've just done. See how it's walked, how wider it is. And at the bottom, look at the three, just the three. I'm going to put this on the edge of my canvas. And look at the ones at the bottom. I'm trying to take, I think what I'm going to do is put it on the table. Yeah, the table is better. So I'm going to bring you over. And I can't see, so I'm going to flip my camera. And I want to show you. Okay, so we did that. It's so hard to try. Oh, maybe that way. Okay, here. Now look. Okay, and look at that one. Like the three that we just did. And those two little circles. And the ones at the bottom. And we're going up to the side. And there. So that is your complete painting. So hope this helps you guys to see what actual retarder, that is going to be easier for you to work with the retarder. So thanks again, and if you have any questions, just put a comment on my site and I'll answer you back if you have problems with this. Perfect. Thank you guys. See you next time. Bye.